Go to bed, kids. These are puppet shows for adults only. Seriously, not for kids. At all. Also, mild spoilers ahead.
You're depressed! We're going out live in 3 hours, for God's sake!
Preceding Avenue Q, Team America, and the Happy Time Murders by decades, Meet the Feebles is a decadently irreverent adult comedy driven by a simple premise. What if characters like those featured in The Muppet Show had a backstage life driven by immorality and accented with filth? Following in a long tradition of naughty puppet shows, director Peter Jackson weaves a web of mass shootings, pornography, drug abuse, AIDS, and practically anything controversial in this black comedy musical puppet extravaganza. If you're like me, you probably have some questions right now. If the concept doesn't immediately appeal to your sense of humor, you might want to know why such a film would ever be made. You may think that the Muppets acting sleazy is a pretty flimsy premise to support a feature-length film. How is it that the same team that brought us the universally beloved, critically lauded, and relatively family-friendly Lord of the Rings trilogy also brought us this?
Care to join me for lunch?
Buckle up, my friends, because we are about to meet the Feebles. In the beginning, Meet the Feebles was conceived as a television series. New Zealander Peter Jackson had just completed his debut feature film, Bad Taste, a splatter comedy that was about to turn heads at the Cannes film market. Before the trip, Jackson and makeup artist Cameron Chittick had conceived of a comedy featuring puppets engaging in adult behavior like smoking, drinking, having sex, and taking drugs. While working on the script for a film that would eventually become Brain Dead, writers Fran Walsh and Stephen Sinclair came up with an idea for a TV variety show called Uncle Herman's Bedtime Whoppers. The team decided that one episode would feature a cast of bawdy puppets dubbed the Feebles. Jackson planned to film this episode as a pilot to launch the series. Unable to secure backing, Jackson and his family, friends, and crew cobbled together $12,000 to make a proof-of-concept film. The production stalled when Jackson traveled to France to pitch Brain Dead and to sell Bad Taste. The short was completed enough to screen at a 1988 market in Milan for a Japanese investor who bought the idea on the condition that it be made as a feature film. Jackson agreed to expand the screenplay with comedian Danny Mulheron and even managed to persuade the leery New Zealand Film Commission to provide some support. Chittick, future Weta Workshop founder Richard Taylor, and many others churned out over 100 puppets and numerous outrageous set pieces and special effects. When their relatively small budget of $750,000 ran dry, the team again dipped into their own pockets to complete the film. Meet the Feebles is the ensemble story of a theatrical troupe on the verge of launching a major syndicated television series. New addition Robert the Hedgehog falls for Lucille the Poodle as Heidi the Hippo soothes her troubles with overeating. Bletch, the evil producer, who bears a slight resemblance to a producer Jackson hadn't met yet, but who would be instrumental in the development of a later trilogy, keeps the prima donna on a string, as the other star of the show, Harry the Hare, indulges in sexual escapades, only to come down with a mysterious illness.
It's the big one, Harry. No, it can't be. I've taken precautions.
There's also a drug-addicted knife-throwing frog, a homosexual director Fox, and a friendly stage manager Worm.
Just call me Arthur.
All of these characters and many more wander in and out of the plot, each with their own B-story as Bletch and his henchman Trevor the Rat make drug deals, produce pornography, and guide the gang toward their big performance, which serves as a blood-soaked finale.
Bitch, I'm sorry, but the show is in a shambles.
Many people have a hard time connecting the dots between the hardcore master of splatter comedy and the director of one of the most critically acclaimed blockbuster trilogies ever made. But there are some notable parallels between The Lord of the Rings and Jackson's earlier films. In the first place, Jackson's first 3 movies can easily be slotted into a trilogy of their own, often called the Trash Trilogy. Secondly, Jackson displays similar aesthetic choices across his body of work, with a strong preference for camera movement and placing wide-angle lenses close to the characters' faces. Puppet film enthusiasts are often quick to cite The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, for its use of camera movement and dynamic angles. But Jackson dares a lot in Feebles, with far less resources. Jackson, who initially became interested in films because of special effects, is a lifelong advocate for fantasy of all varieties in the film industry. Although the orcs of Mordor may be more palatable for some than the monsters of Bad Taste and Feebles, they share a lot of the same monster movie DNA. The difference between humor and horror is often just context. But although Jackson started out with B-movie production values, he saw no reason to stay there, and no reason not to approach the creation of entertainment films with as much dedication to craft as the creation of art house pictures. Peter Jackson is an artist with a taste for cake.
One of my favorite quotes is from Alfred Hitchcock, and he says that I don't make films that are slices of life, I make slices of cake.
If you were going to make a $270 million adaptation of the world's best-selling fantasy book series, would you hire the director of Meet the Feebles to make it happen? Actually, there are some pretty good reasons why you might. New Line Cinema's breakout hit was the slasher classic Nightmare on Elm Street. The studio also released lowbrow fare like Critters and My Demon Lover. By the time executives Robert Shea and Michael Lynn got to work with Jackson, they had learned the value of cult movies and fantastic subject matter. Also, two of Jackson's films made in the gap between the trash trilogy and Lord of the Rings were critical and commercial successes, though often overshadowed by the more famous films that followed, in a similar way to how Star Wars overshadows the success of American Graffiti. Finally, Meet the Feebles shares something important with Lord of the Rings, and that is a colossal sense of ambition. Peter Jackson, whether working for $750,000 or $270 million, is straining every dollar to the breaking point. Adjusted for inflation, the Lord of the Rings trilogy would have cost $389 million in 2019 money. That's the same year that Avengers Endgame was made for $356 million. For what it cost Disney to give us one Avengers blockbuster, the Lord of the Rings team gave us a whole trilogy. Although Lord of the Rings was a massive hit book, a lot of filmmakers had tried and failed to adapt it, leading to an industry-wide perception that the series was unfilmable. Jackson, who cut his teeth filming the unfilmable for 10 years in New Zealand, was willing to take a chance on what was then considered risky material. After all, what could be riskier than Meet the Feebles? Meet the Feebles may have begun as a literal parallel to Jim Henson's Muppet Show, but what we ended up with is more like what Team America World Police is to Thunderbirds, a feature-length parody of a popular television series that ultimately veers off in totally unexpected directions. Why is it so extreme? When Peter Jackson fills our screens with images of cartoonish characters engaging in sex, drugs, and violence, what is he trying to say? Why make this movie?
The type of shocks that are in The Feebles are similar to the type of shocks that are in Bad Taste, and that you are showing something pretty extreme that is so ridiculous that it can't help but make people laugh. I mean, that's exactly the type of humour that I like. I mean, I don't like making shocking films, I don't like making violent films, I don't like violence, but I like humour, and that there is that type of humour that is savage.
In Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes, Charles Holloway defeats a wicked witch's spell by laughing. In a world full of ugliness and pain, sometimes the only escape is to see the funny side. More than that, sometimes laughter is the medicine to bring some healing, a process dramatists might call catharsis. While we wait for the promised 4K restorations of Jackson's early features, you can bet we'll be laughing our ass off.